Hope you're doing good today. December 1st. It's exciting. Got some fun stuff this month for you. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving break. Christmas is 24 days away. We have some special guests today. We have all three co-founders of Option Omega in the channel today. So shout out to Matt, and shout out to Rusty, and shout out to Santa, who was real but is dead. So let's get started. Today we're going to be looking at the new signal tester. And I'm gonna be honest, this thing is pretty crazy. I don't know if you've ever... You can put it in the chat real quick. I'd be interested, just because we have so many different people from so many different backgrounds. Has anybody traded off an indicator before, or used a signal service of any kind before? You can put it in the chat or just talk. It's fine. We're amongst friends. Yes. Wizzy has. Wizzy is in the chat. I'm glad for that, because we're going to be talking about Wizzy today too. So, if you've ever traded off an indicator before, a lot of times, if you started with futures or something like that, it's just you've done it based on futures, which there's a billion people, probably much larger space futures than options traders, at least trading off indicators. But we wanted to put something in the app to allow people that do test off signals to test those signals in the options environment. Rusty, do you want to give like a little 1 minute about why we did it and kind of what we were thinking when we did it?
Yeah, sure. I think the initial intent was simply that there's no way for us to program every last signal into the app, and there are a lot of different signals out there, some are very, very bespoke. And so I think the main intent was to let people say, hey, is this signal that I've been given, or maybe that I'm paying for, is it worth a darn, or is there a good strategy I can find using this signal?
Yeah. And so it's a tough thing. I don't think any other options backtesters allow you to do it. Could be wrong, but not to the level of customization. So what we're going to do today is a fun little one, and we're going to do a couple of these. And so I want to preface it with, these are not the best tests. These are not, I would even argue, great tests. Now that's all relative to Option Omega, because we've seen some great tests. Anybody who's doing long only SPY this year will be impressed by these tests. But in our world, it's not the great test. And that reminds me of a thing that Matt always reminds me of, which is good. What I'm about to say is not financial advice. Options Omega is backward looking. It's not forward looking. Options involve risks. They're not suitable for all investors. If you have any questions about options, please consult with your financial advisor before trading those. What is construed today is simply entertainment advice. Entertainment advice about how to entertain people. That's my advice. So, with that being said, we will continue. So, today's test is an interesting one. And I got to give a shout out straight away to our boy, Wizzy. Shout out to Wizzy. He's a big person in the Option Omega community who... if you've hung out in our Discord at all, you've probably interacted with him before. Very smart guy, and I came to him a couple weeks ago and said, hey, what do you think would be a good kind of baseline strategy to show this thing off? And Wizzy did the Wizzy thing, and he said, give me a little bit of time, and then he sent me this thing. I'm going to get it here real quick. I'm going to put that in here for you. He sent me this thing. And what this is, he said I could share it. What this is a multi-strategy tester by what his name is on TradingView, Tig, that indicator guy. And a couple caveats with this. This is not an indicator per se. This is more or less a way to test things, test some theories out. If that makes sense. It's not. This is not trying to like make you rich. This is not trying to make you money. This is simply an indicator on TradingView to where you can test some things out and export some data and go from there. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take one of the strategies that's in this tester that he sent. I put the link in the chat, and if you guys are new to the Humans channel, if you look at the Humans channel up there to the right, there's a little thing that says open chat. You can open the chat. Please talk. Please ask questions. We're all here to learn together. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to look at one simple strategy. And again, this is not an optimized strategy. This is like the most vanilla strategy in the world. Wizzy will be the first person to tell you this. I am not advocating use this strategy at all. But what we're going to do today is we're going to look at an indicator basically that would say, I want to look at the VWAP. If anybody's traded options, futures for a while, I'm not going to get into VWAP, volume weighted average price. If you pay attention to the market every day, VWAP is always in play, almost always in play. You can look it up on yourself in your own time if you want, what that does and things like that. But today we're going to look at a simple indicator that does a VWAP crossover. So we cross VWAP up or down, we do something. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see here. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Should see a bunch of data. Cool. So there's going to be another video because it's a whole thing. It's Rusty will be the first to tell you this is the reason most people don't do this because the formatting's tough. And so you can read optionmakerdocs.com. Matt just crushes docs to where you guys can learn. So I can learn. And you can read more about it, the tester, the signals tester in general. But there's a specific format. And I just want to show you real quick, we're going to do a video talking about how to do this. I might even use this as Act 1 to do the video, so be on the lookout for that. But in general, we're exporting the data from TradingView. Don't know if you're familiar with TradingView. It's a pretty cool charting tool. It has a ton of plugins, a ton of indicators that you can download, play around with. And you can export the data on those. And so this is an export of data. And all I've done, basically, I've done a couple things. Again, I'll go into the video, but a couple things. First, TradingView reverses the order from last to first of their export. So when you have an indicator or something that you're working with, the first thing you want to do is you want to sort by A to Z instead of Z to A once you get it in there. The second part is you are going to mess with the dates because the dates have, I don't remember format time a lot. I was telling you, Rusty, today, my joke is because I was homeschooled and didn't have a lot of friends when I was younger because I was a nerd. All of my time as a kid was ISO format. So anyway, this is a simple date time, but if you look at like row 30, I don't know if you can see that, there's not a 0 at this 9, right? It's 9:54 a.m., but there's not a 0 at the 9, so you're gonna have a blow up if you try to put this in Option Omega. So at least I'll show you this real quick. What you do is you would go to, I'm using Google Sheets, most people use Excel, whatever. I'm sure there's a way in Excel to do this too. we format it to a custom date and time, and you're just going to say, I want to put the hour with the leading zero. That's what you're going to do. And that fixes it. So with this test, we are going to do a couple different things. And should have had this up already, but I didn't. I have broken this out into two things. If you see here on the left, we have shorts and longs. And what is that? Well, on this VWAP strategy, all we're saying is if VWAP crosses up, that's a long signal. VWAP crosses below, that's a short signal. That's what it is. Now you could play along. You could play around. You could put the dates in there, and you could use those either way. So like goes up, goes down, do something. You could test that. For the purposes today, what I've done is I've separated these out into two separate files. So I have a VWAP long and a VWAP short, and we're going to test those out in Option Omega. And it's super funny to me what we're about to look at. So if you can see my screen, let's look at first at a simple long strategy. So VWAP crosses up. We're going to sell a put spread if VWAP crosses up. So real quick, as you can see, I'm using the custom signals file. I have a VWAP longs. So all we're doing is we're selling a 40 delta, and we're buying the 50 delta, and we're just spreading it. Okay, we have the stop loss at $2, and at profit target of $1, we set the stop loss to $1. So we're kind of trailing a little bit. So you can see that works pretty well. Okay, long strategy, long VWAP, pretty cool. Testing stuff based on specific things that are happening in the market. It's not just mechanical now. We're basing it on something. Now, what's interesting, and you guys, now that you have the link, you can do this too. You can play around with it because there's actually more than one strategy in there, and I guarantee you there's better ones. But I just wanted to do VWAP because VWAP's fun. So that's the long. There's another long here too, but I'm gonna show you why we're not going to look at that here in a second. So let's do the short VWAP. So the short VWAP is we're going to sell on the crossover down. It goes below VWAP. We're going to sell the 40 delta, call, and this is 0 day, just using 0 day options. And we're going to buy a call 50 points out. And it's the same thing. We're going to use the stop loss at $2 stop. At profit target of $1, we set the stop loss to 1. Allocating 20% of our portfolio. Very simple test, not optimized at all. You can play at home with all this stuff. I'll share them here in a second. So as you can see, this actually, I mean, like I said, this in Option Omega terms, this is not like the best back test ever. But a 9% drawdown of 34% CAGR. And side note, this is since September. I put year to date, but this is actually, if you look at the file, we didn't start this until September. So this is since September. A 34% CAGR is it's nothing to sneeze about, right? It's pretty interesting. Again, think about it today less in terms of like the strategy and more in terms of like the possibilities. That's what I'm trying to get you to look at a little bit, because this isn't just another test, but it's the theory behind it that matters. So that's interesting to me, right? So this is a short VWAP strategy. Yeah, that's true. I should just do that. What is the date? September 25th was the first date. Let's just do it. So I'm gonna put the 24th. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna save that. So CAGR is better because it's a little bit more realistic. So you're doing fine, right? That's a fine test. Like we're okay with that test. But again, it's just showing the possibilities of what this thing can do, which is very exciting. Let's look at something else, a short strategy. So that was VWAP crosses down, sell calls, call spreads. What about if we just bought a put? As easy as can be. VWAP goes down, cuts below VWAP, sell old man put, the 45 DTE, the classic, buy put, buy the 45 DTE, 50 delta. To set the money. You could optimize the heck out of this, but just to show you. That's pretty good, right? That's not bad at all for a pretty dumb strat like a VWAP crossover. It's not exactly, we're not writing books about that. That's a pretty easy thing to look at. Pretty cool. So this is where it gets fun to me. I'm going to go signal, and I'm going to do the first one. The long one wasn't like a long crossover. I only found like one thing that worked. Honestly, the rest of them were pretty trash. But you guys are smarter than me. Most everybody in the world is smarter than me. So, which like Socrates, that makes me smart. But that's a separate conversation.